Okay, so this is a new series I got for y'all. I call it the Retrospective series.
Amazing!
From now on, drum covers will be followed up with a video discussing the drum cover that came before it, as well as its source material. Retrospectively? And that's the Retrospective series. Okay, so it's not the most creative name for a series, granted. But hey, what can I say? I'm not a professional writer. I'm Drummer Dave. I don't study the literary works of classical scholar and poet A.E. Housman. I hit things with sticks for a living. Don't expect too much from me. Don't. Please? Greetings, fair maidens. It is I, David, the object of all your fantasies and sexual desires. First of all, I just want to say that... Pardon me one moment. What's that? Most of the people watching are men? And are therefore not fair maidens? Because most drummers are men. So consequently, most of the viewers are also men? Greetings, dashing gentlemen. It is I, David, the object of all your fantasies and sexual desires. Thank you. In the Retrospective series, we'll discuss the how, what, when, where, who, and why. If you find that you have questions like,
Gee whiz, Mr. David. I sure do love that little drum ditty you played for us. How did you come up with that little drum ditty, Mr. David?
Or, who's your favorite drummer, Drummer Dave? Or, good evening, Mr. David. Yeah, thanks. Hey, listen, I don't really know what's going on here. Do you think you can tell me why? I'll ask the questions here. Okay. What kind of videos were you uploading in 2021? Good ones? I don't... Were you, or were you not, uploading decoupage videos to a drum cover channel? I don't really recall things. April 5th, 2021, motherfucker. Did you, or did you not, decoupage on a drum cover channel? I have no recollection of the things that you were saying to me. I want to talk to my lawyer. Or my own personal favorite. Hello, David. David. Why did you choose that song? You always pick the most illogical songs ever. David? Drummer David? Answer me. You cannot ignore me forever, Drummer David. If any of these questions sound like you, make sure to keep up to date with the Retrospective series by, I don't know, subscribing or something. Or you could just do whatever you want, actually. I'm not a cop. Like, why do YouTubers feel the need to remind us about subscribing? Like we don't know how YouTube works or something. Like we're infants. Okay, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon. Do you know about the bell icon? I know about the bell icon. How could I possibly not know about the bell icon? I've seen hundreds of videos where they mention the bell icon. I'm just choosing not to use it. Maybe if you worked on your videos as much as you talk about the bell icon, you'd have more subscribers. Why don't you just take the bell icon and stick it right up your... Yeah, so for me personally, I'm less likely to subscribe if someone tells me to subscribe, because no one tells me what to do. Today in our first retrospective video, we'll be discussing the Kimetsu no Yaiba drum cover that was recently uploaded to my channel. Link in the description. Okay, so Kimetsu no Yaiba, that's Demon Slayer to you, Gaijin, is an incredibly popular series in Japan. I enjoy it, and so do the kids. Seriously, all of my students love this show. The boys, the girls, the boys and the girls. They love it. It's one of the main reasons I picked this song, actually. For those of you who aren't familiar, Kimetsu no Yaiba, or Demon Slayer, is a shonen anime about demons slaying and a muscular pigman? The show follows the story of Tanjiro, a young hydration enthusiast with a loving disposition to the whims of his little sister Nezuko. Tanjiro wants nothing more than for his sister to give up her high-fiber, low-protein axe-handle morning meal for a well-balanced breakfast. But when Tanjiro urges her to change her ways, drama ensues. But hey, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? The show opens with the kind-hearted protagonist, Tanjiro, and his little sister Nezuko traveling. Tanjiro is carrying his little sister on his back through a cheerful winter wonderland in the traditional red and white Christmas palette. It really captures that holly jolly Christmas feeling the Japanese love so much. Yeah. What? She's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. Ah, the show does a jump cut on us next, and suddenly we're in the past. Like the day before, I think. Here we see Tanjiro, Nezuko, Mama Tanjiro, smaller Tanjiro, even smaller Tanjiro, medium-sized girl Tanjiro, and Big Ernie. They're discussing the holiday feast they'll all be sharing when Tanjiro returns from his outing. Tanjiro loves his family, and they're very important to the plot.
Next day.
So, after the feast, Tanjiro heads into the woods to work on his daily step count. He even carries his little sister on his back so he can get a better leg workout and achieve that high-intensity exercise he craves after a joyous family feast. Really gets the heart pumping and the calves a-burning. Can't neglect the calves. So after he's built up a good sweat, they take a breather to make some snow angels and have a loving heart-to-heart, sister-to-brother, a little chit-chat. Family powwow. The talk does take a turn for the worse though, as Tanjiro's concerns over his sister's high-fiber, low-protein axe-handle breakfast once again become the topic of debate. When this happens, she snacks on a piece right in front of him to establish dominance. Such a flagrant display of contempt. But hey, we're in luck. Fortunately, the main character shows up to kill Tanjiro's little sister. Yes, the Demon Slayer is here, and he is just itching to get some sweet...
Well-balanced breakfast.
He kills Nezuko and enjoys breakfast with Tanjiro. The end. And that's the entire show. There's no more show.
A damn liar, man. That's not true.
I enjoyed the series for the most part. Some of the characters are annoying. And while the story isn't very complex, it is exciting, and a few moments really moved me. If you like action and haven't seen it, I can recommend it to you, especially if you go in with realistic expectations. This show has a lot of hype surrounding it, and all the lavish praise it gets can be a bit misleading. But there is a lot to like here. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. I really like the water effects on Tanjiro's sword. And Tanjiro too, actually. He's a very amiable character. I really like how he's a family man and always does his best to do what's right and help others. Yes, it sounds a bit trite and boring, but I do like it. This is very different from how I used to think. I'm sure old Dave would probably scoff and speak his mind. He'd say that characters who aren't totally good or evil are the most riveting. Blah blah blah. Wolverine. Blah blah blah. Snake. Pliskin. Blah blah blah. Willy Wonka?
They are slowing!
Yep, Willy Wonka.
You lose! Good day, sir!
You know what I'm trying to say, the tormented soul who is both good and bad, the anti-heroes. Those kinds of characters are the most interesting and make for the best stories. That Batman is greater than Superman kind of mentality, at least according to Old Dave. And I do agree with Old Dave for the most part.
Green peaches.
However, this is future Dave, or now Dave, this is present Dave. And present Dave appreciates Tanjiro's kind-hearted nature and knows that doing what's right for what's right's sake is best in right's what's sake. I also like Nezuko. She's cute and doesn't speak at all. The perfect woman. The mood of Demon Slayer reminds me of Claymore a little bit. That could just be because I'm a huge Claymore fan. In fact, actually, now that I think about it, they're not really alike at all. Claymore takes place in a fantasy world, while Demon Slayer is set in Taisho-era Japan, with most of the locations being areas in Tokyo. The moods are also completely different. I know Demon Slayer might seem quite somber and dark in tone after seeing the main character's family get killed, but it actually has a pretty lighthearted tone much of the time. The next episode segments in the show are quite cute and cheerful as well. There's also a comic relief character that in reality acts more like an annoyance relief character. You know, just in case you need a break from not being annoyed at a particular moment in time. Claymore, on the other hand, is dead serious and is far sadder. Certain characters' deaths have forever scarred me. They also talk about rape and other unsavory things as well. Claymore also has sexy, giant, sword-wielding witch ladies, while Demon Slayer has whatever this is. Well, regardless, Demon Slayer was a good watch in its own right, but hey, mine isn't the only opinion out there, so let's dive into the cyber world known as the Internet and see what others had to say about Demon Slayer.
Not surprisingly, most of the reviews I found were positive, with people saying things like amazing, awesome, and coolest. Triadong94 even goes so far as to give the show a perfect 10 and says, I like this anime so much. It have good story, lovable character, beautiful art style. And it even have Michael Jackson in the guise. Michael Jackson? Okay, but too much positivity is boring. Let's look at some alternative opinions, shall we? Federai Kolabasti gives the show 6 stars and says, let me be honest. I was in love with this show on the first episodes. The animation, the cruelty, and the mystery was great. I even thought I was watching the best anime of the decade. But definitely no.
Negative.
Once they introduce the blonde character whose name I don't even care to mention, it all goes downhill.
The amount of anticlimactic bad jokes takes away so much screen time that I found myself bored and frustrated. You can't pretend to mix in man-eating demons, flying limbs, and katanas with constant filler jokes for 10-year-old kids. Maybe I'm just too old for anime. Federico Labasti? I couldn't agree more. I hate the blonde guy. He's incredibly annoying. May he burn in hellfire for all eternity like the heretic that he is.
You will burn in hell for all eternity, heretic. You will burn in hell.
Football 80823 gives the show 7 stars and says, "What a stupid show. The protagonist can smell fear, demon, humans as he himself is human. Also, he can see and talk and even fight the souls." Okay, last one before we move on to what the kids had to say. Angelo Snowyou says,
10 de 10, es hermoso, es muy pero muy bonito, la animación es genial, es sublime, aparte la banda sonora es más que excelente, tiene momentos graciosos, serios, épicos.
Gracias, señor Angelo Snowyou.
Okay, so we heard from the adults. Let's take a look at what some of the kids had to say. Zabuza1234 says, "Blood! This show is amazing, but beware, it's more of an TVMA show, it's very bloody." Tanjiro, a 13-year-old, gives the show 5 stars and says, "Best anime I've watched, hands down. Demon Slayer is a great anime with fantastic animation. Despite the name and what my grandma thinks, there's nothing to do with Satan in this."
Lamau.
You heard it here first, folks. Demon Slayer has nothing to do with Satan, no matter what this kid's grandma tells you. Kid, age 12, gives the show 5 stars and says, "This is a really good show. Great plot, lovable characters, etc. Do keep in mind that there is tons of violence and blood, though. If I had watched this when I was 11 or under, I probably would have been petrified. I'm 12 as of writing this, and although it's not much of a difference in age, it was definitely a smart decision on my behalf to watch this now.
Since I'm not as afraid anymore."
This definitely depends on your kid, but I'd say 12 plus. Okay, that's actually pretty adorable. And lastly, Nondescript Kid, age 11, says, "Can't watch. I watched the Walton Files, which has murdering and stuff, but for some reason I can't watch this. If I'm allowed to watch the Walton Files, I should be allowed to watch this."
Ah! I'm insane with anger!
Huh. Walton Files. What's that? This is the definitive wiki archiving all things related to the Walton Files. The Walton Files is a YouTube series created by Martin Walls. The series has a distinguishing dark atmosphere surrounding a children's restaurant, Bond's Burgers, as well as its parent company, Bunny Smiles Inc. Bond's Burgers has 5 animatronics, Bond, Shaw, Buzu, Banny, and Billy, also known as the Showstoppers. The Walton Files is compiled in the form of VHS tapes made in the 1970s and 1980s. It contains live action and 2D animation. Oh, he's staring at me.